What's up, my beautiful people? Hope you're having a terrific day. Exile451 here with yet another daily dose of Reddit Happy. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. We're going back into AskReddit for some funny stories that I know are gonna make you laugh. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Okay, so the AskReddit question was, parents, what's the funniest bad thing your child did that you had to punish them for while holding back laughter? A lot of these tend to revolve around the use of more adult language, but there are still some really funny other stories as well. I once caught my youngest son, about 3 at the time, peeing in the corner of his room, right next to the wastebasket and sort of behind a bookshelf. When I asked him why he was doing that when there was a bathroom 10 feet away, he said he was watering the ants. Confused about what ants and why, I went over and peeked behind the bookshelf. And I found the ants, and the half donut he'd swiped and shoved back there, along with various bits of candy, a slice of bread, and most of a chicken nugget. Apparently, he had seen an ant and decided to cultivate his own little ant farm in his room. It was so absurd that I had a hard time holding it together while explaining to him that the ants would do just fine without feeding them and peeing on them. How about this? Ready? When my boys were 2 and 3, they buttered our dog. Each kid got a hold of a stick of butter and they were buttering her from snoot to tail. Ever try to catch a freshly buttered chihuahua? The best part? They did this twice in a 6-month span. It's just like that pig wrestling. All I can see is that pig wrestling where they grease that there little pig up and you're supposed to grab that there pig and it keeps getting away because it's all greased up. I mean, the image of those 2 boys just forcibly holding down a chihuahua and rubbing butter all over it like it was a Thanksgiving turkey. Oh, and then a comment here. Freshly buttered chihuahua is not a term I'd ever considered running across before. No, likewise. Same here. Another comment. One time, I babysat for a girl who announced she was going to play spa and locked herself in the bathroom. I opened the door to find her smearing honey on the cat. I'll trade you catching a freshly buttered chihuahua for scrubbing a freshly honeyed cat. Oh my gosh, no. Oh, how that cat did not claw her eyes out, I do not know, but that is nothing short of a miracle. Oh, that must have been miserable. Walking through the Capitol building with my then 4-year-old son when a man on crutches with one amputated leg gets into the same elevator as us. My son says, in stage whisper, "Mom, what happened to his leg?" The man heard him and kindly said that he lost his leg a year ago. My son didn't miss a beat and said, "Did you check between the couch cushions? My mom says she always loses her crap in there." I was appalled. The man, on the other hand, was laughing so hard he was crying. Well, at least he had a sense of humor about it. While playing in her pretend kitchen, my 4-year-old was rummaging through the cabinets and says, "Where the F is my colander?" Before I can say anything, she finds it, sniffs it, looks at her teddy bear, and asks, "Did you piss in this?" After gathering my composure, I discussed the use of daddy words. Oh, you gotta love when a kid uses a word they don't know the meaning of, and it just... And then a follow-up comment here. I have a similar story of this from my childhood. I was about the same age. My mom was hanging curtains, and they kept falling on the floor as she was doing it. She was getting frustrated and kept saying crap each time they fell on the floor. Days later, my dad is reorganizing his record collection, and he had them strewn all over the floor. I go and tell my mom, "Mommy, come look, Daddy made a crap on the floor." Oh, kids. When my 22-year-old son was a little dude, the Uncanny X-Men was our favorite cartoon. And at the time, Burger King was putting X-Men toys in their kids' meals. We went through a drive-thru to go get some, but he was too young and they gave him a Snoopy doll. His sister got Wolverine, but he got Snoopy, and he was ticked. He hucked it out the window and yelled, "Throw Snoopy in the fire!" We all still say that sometimes when we're mad. Flight delayed, throw Snoopy in the fire. Drop the maple syrup, throw Snoopy in the fire. Find a scratch on the car, throw Snoopy in the fire. Great mood leveler. Yeah, my family's got something similar, except I don't appreciate it quite as much because a few years ago, I was working out and an exercise bungee snapped back and popped me right in the eye, and frankly, I'm very blessed and fortunate to even still see out of that eye right now, but this was right before Thanksgiving, and my parents had decided that we needed updated professional family photos. So we're out taking them, and my eye is super sensitive to light, and the doctor who we went to said, do not throw up because that could detach your retina. And I was so nauseous and so ready to puke that I'm stamping my foot, doing everything I can, and my dad is just going, he's gonna throw up, he's gonna throw up. For some reason, to the rest of my siblings, that was hilarious. And as a joke, they still make to this day. But for me, not quite as much. It was one of the most miserable days of my life. Anywho, moving on. When I was a kid, I was on my dad's shoulders, chasing after my mom and brother. I yelled, "Stop in the name of the log!" That's the family joke for us. Police, stop in the name of the log. When I was 3, we were moving out to Nevada from the Midwest. At this point, my only experience of the desert was the old westerns my dad watched. So, of course, upon seeing desert scrub, my reaction was to declare, "There's idiots in them there bushes." That phrase still lives strong in our family. This just happened a day ago. For reference, I've been recently calling people turkeys in the car when my son is in there and I need to vent. Son is 3. So I'm picking my wife and son up from the beach since parking is expensive. As I'm trying to turn around on this public street, these 2 young hellions are on bikes riding too close to my car as I'm in reverse. I say, these kids should be more careful or they're gonna get hit one day. My son, without missing a beat, "Yeah, they're effing turkeys." We were dying for a bit and told him not to say that word. Secretly, I was proud he put that one together. It was exactly what I was thinking. He's a chip off the old block. Well, that is a proud dad moment if there ever was one. Follow-up comment here. My 3-year-old did something similar. I had recently warned him about bad language, so when he was trying hard to put on his shoe and said, "Come on, shoe," he paused briefly, looked at me and asked, "Can I say come on?" Aw, sweet kid. He thinks come on might be a bad word. I reassure him, yeah, you can say come on. He resumes the struggle once more, saying, "Come on, effing shoe." Did not see that one coming. I love when kids are awkward like that. Sorry, another little family story here, but we used to go to Disneyland like every year because, I grew up in California, and one of my younger brothers, when he was really young, I want to say like somewhere between 4 to 6, I don't remember exactly, but we were out eating at one of the restaurants in New Orleans Square, and there was this jazz band going on, and as soon as they finished, he gets up and he's just like, "If it's over, I'll be glad." It's not what he meant, but the whole restaurant heard it, and the jazz band was just cracking up about it. And we're just like, sit down, shut up. Oh. And to think he's married now. My son is the youngest of 4, with 3 older sisters. After going through the toddler and grade school years with those 3, I figured there'd be no way he would one-up them. Yeah, no. So when he was 5, he'd been in kindergarten all of a month. I got a call at work from the school saying, "You need to come get your kid. He's naked, won't put his clothes on, and we have the principal keeping him isolated in the bathroom, or he'd be running around through the hallways." The story, as best as I've been able to reconstruct it, went something like this. My son, having grown up in a house full of girls, wasn't taught about peeing standing up until the summer before school started, because I am not going to deal with 4 women complaining about pee on the seat or the seat getting left up. That summer, though, I figured I'd show him about urinals since he was going to encounter them next year at school anyway. So he has to pee and gets up and goes to the bathroom. How his teacher managed to let him out of the classroom and not notice he'd been gone for 10 plus minutes, I have no idea. The boy is nothing if not disruptive. Takes after me. He goes in there, sees the urinal, and I'm sure in his little brain thinks, "Aha! Daddy taught me about these. I'm gonna pee like a big boy." He did his business, flushed like I taught him to, and that's when the trouble started. This particular school has been there for 40 plus years. It was his mother's grade school, if that tells you anything. And the plumbing is mostly original. The valve on that particular urinal was one of those ball valve ones that, when they leak, tend to do it in spectacular fashion. And the boy promptly got sprayed by the water. This became fun as he did it several more times, spraying water on himself, the wall, the floor, the mirror, everywhere. Then he was wet, so naturally, he did what he does at home when he gets soaked and his clothing is wet and unpleasant. He took it all off and began to play in the water more, continuing to spray water everywhere. This went on for close to 10 minutes before somebody went looking for him and realized, oh goodness, this is a problem. They tried giving him dry clothes and he threw them back out of the bathroom. And being an American school, of course, they aren't going to dress him or make him get dressed. And it quickly became a game which he had no intention of losing. It continued till I got there and he realized the jig was up. Took him home doing my best stern dad face while inwardly howling with laughter the entire time. That's one of those stories that you save for the toast at the wedding and just embarrass the crap out of him. At least your kid knows how to have fun though. Not a parent, but my folks are long-term foster carers. One of their kids is a little lad, a bit messed up, but ultimately an absolute little dude. My dad once found him on their open-plan staircase. He'd gotten all of his clothes and bedsheets, tied them in a long rope, tied one end around the banister pole at the top, and was in the process of tying the other around his waist. He was literally going to abseil off what's roughly a 15-foot drop onto solid wood floors. His clothes rope was about 30 feet. He'd used davits. My parents say having kids is basically just trying to stop little dudes from killing themselves. I peed myself laughing when they told me about this one. These next three are all follow-ups to it. When we were young, my little brother and a young girl his age were being very quiet in our bedroom. Mom goes to check on them and finds them out our second floor window ready to bungee jump. Don't worry though, he made sure the elastic band chain made it to the ground. Oh, and being a gentleman, he was in the middle of tying the bands around his friend's feet to let her go first. I mean, you laugh about it, but can you just imagine trying to explain that to her parents if they'd gone through with that? As a parent, my life is divided between wishing for some peace and quiet and worrying about what the kids are doing now that they've stopped making so much noise. Ain't that the paradox? When I was younger, my brothers and I attempted to skydive off the top bunk bed using plastic grocery bags as parachutes. They did not noticeably slow our fall. That was r/AskReddit, and if you want more funny or inspiring AskReddit content, then feel free to hit the playlist link in the description below. Now you guys go out there, have a great day, I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, I'm Exile451. Stay beautiful, people.